monday.com platform. And it's really helped to see it in a less that way I don't see it in too many lists and I just see it in one. So that's helpful. Let me see. Oh, they said paddleboard. Wow, it's really fun. And whiskey tasting. Not at the same time. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Ooh, okay. So thinking, right? We're taking this moment to reflect on the last new thing that we tried. And it can be from anything. Maybe it can be something small that we don't usually stop and reflect about. Wonderful. So we're gonna start now. So I'm Alejandra Ramos Gomez. I think I've seen maybe some of you before in some of these sessions. Today's session is gonna be on movement and poetry. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of both. And I do both, and I find that they're very much aligned when I'm going to write. It really helps me to kind of move my body and be present and connect my mind and my body. So we're going to be practicing some of that today. And what you're going to see is like this connection, just very simple, kind of like what we did about sharing something about ourselves. We're going to do some breathing, we're going to do some movement, some poetry, and then at the end, some self-reflection time. So we're going to try the counting breathing before we start with our movement. And for this, let me pin. Okay, so make sure you're in a comfortable space. And with the counting breathing, it's very simple and it's a great way to visualize when you're breathing as well. So we're gonna have here in a comfortable position. You can either be folding your legs, or they can also be straight, whatever feels best for you. If you're sitting down, maybe your feet are flat on the ground. Your hands can be on the side. That can be also at the top of your legs. Just finding that comfortable position for you. And also relaxing our shoulders, bringing our back up. I always like to think that I have like a little thread pulling the top of my head, but always relaxing those shoulders. And this counting breathing is as it is, just counting. You can just do it in your mind when you're counting the seconds that we're gonna take breathing in or breathing out, but I like to do it visually. It just kind of helps me. So we're gonna do first 4 and 6. We're gonna breathe in 4. Breathe out in 6. Breathe in 4. Breathe out in 6. Two more, and you can go at your pace. Breathing in 4. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out in 6. Great. And with the counting breathing, another fun part of it is trying different numbers, right? Instead of doing 4 and 6, you can also do 5 and 7. You can do 7 and 9, and you can kind of try and focus. And sorry, my cat is walking by, but she usually likes to be here during these practices. So we're gonna do one more with our breath, where we're just gonna help. We're gonna move our breath as we're moving our arms. So we're gonna breathe in, moving our arms up. And the breathing out, moving them down as if we're pushing something. Just pushing down. One more time, breathing in, bringing our arms up. And breathing out. One last deep breath before we go into movement. And bringing down. Good, so we're just gonna start moving our body, and we're gonna go from top all the way to the bottom. So we're gonna start with our head, and at some point I will be playing some music as well. Just wanna make sure that you can hear me as well. You can hear my voice. So we're gonna start, and always kind of like using our breath as well with our movement, taking our own pace, our own rhythm. but always remembering many times when we're moving, we kind of forget that our breath is there, right? And same thing when we're walking, when we're doing things every day. So taking this moment to breathe as we move and just also notice, right? Notice our body as we're doing it. So we're going to start with our head and we're going to breathe in as we're moving our head up. And then out, down. So we're saying yes. Breathing in. One more. Now as if we're saying no. So it's the same thing. We're going to breathe in with one of our movements to one side, breathe out to the other side. Breathing in, out. Taking a moment to notice this movement. How does it feel? Do you feel it in another part of your body? Is it easier to move to one side than the other? Is there any difference between one side or the other? And one last, saying no, breathing into one side and breathing out to the other. Okay, now we're gonna roll our head. And for this one, also taking just being aware of our limits, not going too much to the back, just how it feels comfortable. And the most important thing is to feel that rotation, to feel that that movement of your neck. So we're gonna breathe in as we move to one side. And then breathing out to the other. Breathing into one side. And taking that whole breath through the whole movement around. And then breathing out to the other side. Two more movements, breathing in. To the other side. And the last movement, allowing the breath to guide that first movement around. And breathing out, releasing. Now we're moving to our shoulders. And we know that shoulders can also be a space where a lot of that tension, where we keep it. So being aware of that movement as well, noticing, always taking a moment to, this is a moment for you to be with your body and to notice anything in those movements. So we're gonna take a deep breath in as we move our shoulders up and out, bringing them down. Breathing in as you tense up. And then breathing out, letting go. Shoulders up. Down. Up. Down. Now we're gonna roll back. Breathe in. Breathe out as you roll down. Breathe in, up. Out. And we're rolling back. Breathing in, up. Out, rolling back. And the last movement back. Now we're gonna roll forward, and always also being aware of our head right now, being of our back, making sure that it's straight, but it's also relaxed. Our shoulders are relaxed. Our body, if you need to readjust, this is also a good time. You can readjust at any time to make sure that you're feeling comfortable. So we're gonna do forward. We move our shoulders. So now we're gonna breathe in as they're going up. Breathe out as they're rolling forward. Breathing in. Breathing out, rolling forward. 2 more deep breaths. And out. Breathing in. And out. Okay. And we'll do one last movement with our arms, and then we're going to do some movement with music. So we're going to bring our hands together and intertwine our fingers. We stretch forward. We sit. Now we're going to breathe in, bringing them up. Breathing out, bringing them down. Two more times, bringing up. Breathing and breathing out, down. And the last movement, up, down. Good, so we're gonna do some mindful and free movement, and then we're gonna do our final writing prompt. So I'm going to share some sound, and that way we can move. Let me make sure. Let me see, can you hear the sound there? See, I think there it is. Good, so we're gonna just stand up for a second. And we're gonna move to the sides. Just moving our body to the sides, kind of swinging back and forth, breathing in, out, out. Now stretching up as we're reaching to the sky. And reaching down, letting go. Breathing in as we go up. Breathing out, we go down, and then extending one side, down, bending your other arm, down. We're gonna come up slowly. Go ahead, use your last neck, its last part to come up and roll up. Move side to side. Just slowly stretching your arm and noticing how it starts. How it's going to extend all the way out. Noticing all the movements there, all of your muscles and your body. Thanking your body for allowing this movement right now. Stretching side to side. And we'll bring our hands to heart. And we're side to side. We're just going to stretch slowly to the side. Breathing in and out. Bringing our legs parallel, opening our legs. And we're gonna move to one side. Bring our upper body to the other. And moving our knee slightly to each side. Take a deep breath in. Out. Now we're gonna bring our fingers intertwined back and stretch back as high as we can go as it feels comfortable. It doesn't have to go very high. Just making sure that you're feeling that stretch all the way from upper back, all the way to your hands, to your fingers, noticing any movement in your hands. Good, just taking those last 30 seconds here in movement to move as you need, to stretch any part of your body that you need before we go into the writing. These 30 seconds are free for you to move. Good. Taking that last deep breath while we're moving and out. Good. So now you can find a comfortable position now with your notebook, or whether you want to write in your computer. And I'm going to pause the music. Good. And we're going to continue to our writing prompt. So for this one, you would have this for the movement. We already did that. So you can either do two things or also different, right? Because for writing and journaling, right now it's more about you writing maybe what you noticed in your body, what was connecting. So don't worry if you don't want to write one thing in specific. Just feel free to explore and to write and to just let it flow. But we're going to take a moment to just write down. Either you can write down anything you noticed in your body during this session, during this movement, anything that you noticed. Maybe you noticed some tension in one part of your body. Maybe one movement felt great. Maybe one movement was easier than the other. You can write anything that you like. But also for the poetry part, this poem that I bring today is very, very easy, a very simple type of writing in a poem, but that I believe can be very impactful. It can be written in any language, right? Many times I do it even in both at the same time. And this is an acrostic poem. So an acrostic poem is just a word that kind of goes vertically, and it can tell a story for each line, right? If I'm working with my students or with younger students, I would probably tell them to write one word that describes them. But for this part, for this self-reflection journal prompt, I would invite you to write at least maybe one sentence or one word for each of the letters in your name. Or if you want to write someone else's name, that's okay too. And just take a moment to write, to reflect about, you can reflect about who you are, about your interests, about things that happened during the week, about things that you envision to happen soon. So just writing that acrostic poem, no rules besides having to spell a word vertically and using all of those letters. And yes, it can either be writing a whole sentence, it can be very poetic, or it can also just be words maybe that describe you. One letter, one word per letter. So go ahead. And we're gonna have 2 minutes for this, and you can always continue at home, or this is something fun to also do with students, and it's a quick way to even explore the ways or the words that you connect to yourself, right? Many times we don't reflect on how we talk to ourselves, and when we have activities like this where we can see words, you can maybe take a moment to reflect about the words that you use to describe yourself, which are very important too. Good. And the words can be adjectives, but they can also just be words that connect with you, or who connect to the things that you are doing, to your passions, to things that you enjoy, to things that have been around in your mind lately. So please feel free to do that. And I know we're gonna end like 5 minutes early, so we're gonna end in 1 minute. But thank you so much, everyone, for your time today and for joining the session. And I hope that you get to finish this poem or share it with other people too. Here we go. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon.